Welcome to CityWise. I'm your host, Tiana Stevens. CityWise is produced by the City of Rochester to shine a spotlight on city living at its best. Well, Mayor Lovely Warren is inviting unemployed and underemployed city residents to get the training they need to land good-paying jobs in the growing fields of environmental construction and cleanup. The Rochester Environmental Jobs Training Program, REJob, is recruiting candidates for the next round of training, led by Paul McFadden, City of Rochester Environmental Jobs Training Coordinator, and he joins us today along with REJob graduate Bre'Asia Andrews. She's an employee at the City of Rochester Department of Environmental Services. They're here to tell us more. Thank you both for coming on today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So Paul, REJob is rather new to the City of Rochester. How did it get started?
Well, REJob is a federally funded program that is funded from the EPA, and it was an opportunity for both our Mayor, Lovely Warren, as well as our Commissioner for the Department of Environmental Services, Norman Jones, to have the ability to get a little bit more leverage for citizens that are living in the City of Rochester that are looking for an opportunity to be able to enter into the world of construction.
Sure. Bre'Asia, how did you hear about REJob?
So that's actually a very funny story. I was in my car on my way home from work, and I heard a radio broadcast live from City Hall. It was a job fair for Del Lago, and I decided to go. And when I went, some people from OTR, they let me know that Paul McFadden was starting a program and I should join. So.
And Paul, for people who don't know, what is OTR?
OTR is Operation Transformation Rochester. It's our mayor's initiative towards helping individuals who are suffering from everyday poverty-based effects to be able to navigate their way out of poverty through skilled and structured programming as well as mentorship.
Bre'Asia, what were you doing before you started the REJob training program?
So I'm a recent graduate from Buffalo State College. I was working with people with disabilities, and it was very hard to get a job in my career. It was either I was underqualified or I needed a little bit more. So that's what I was doing before, and now I'm an engineering technician for the City of Rochester, and I love it.
What does an engineering technician do?
Well, an engineering technician is kind of go hand in hand with being a permit inspector. So any excavation work done in the right-of-way, sidewalks, in the road, we go and check it out. We keep a close eye on construction and things of that sort.
When is the next round of REJob training starting?
The next round of REJob training is actually starting on January 22nd of 2018.
Okay. And what do people need to do to apply? What are the qualifications?
The qualifications is individuals must be 21 years of age, must have a valid and functioning New York State driver's license.
Okay.
There are multiple drug tests that are involved with the orientation enrollment process as well, and we are looking for individuals that have reliable transportation.
Okay. And how about city residency? Is that required as well?
City residency is a requirement for this training program.
Now, is there tuition, application fee, that sort of thing involved?
There is no tuition, there's no application fee. It is for individuals who are seeking to be able to navigate themselves out of poverty. It is a non-paid 8-week training program.
Okay.
So we are looking for individuals that are serious and have the ability to sit inside of classrooms every day for 8 weeks from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
In the winter.
Yes,
Yes.
every day.
What happens exactly during those 8 weeks? Walk us through that.
So what the first part we did an employer's survey. We wanted to be able to know what is it that construction companies are looking out of qualified candidates.
Okay.
Those surveys allowed us to be able to focus then on the remedial education part. So there is math, there is science, and there is chemistry that is involved with the training program through our partners over at Monroe BOCES. Then there is the technical training. Individuals are going to be receiving abatement licenses and certifications, hazmat, HAZWOPER, OSHA, safety, confined space, CPR, first aid. There's a host of certification classes that are involved with it as well. And then we have a wonderful engineering firm that also comes in and they do an environmental sampling certification class as well.
Okay, and that's a local Rochester company?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Bre'Asia, what did you find most challenging about the class?
I would say the thing that was most challenging was keeping up with the guys. So it's definitely a lot of physical work, and you have to show that you can get in there and you can do it just like them.
And you had about 30 participants last time around. How many were of that group were women?
So we enrolled 29 individuals total into our first round. We had 23 males, we had 6 females inside of the program.
And we all held our own.
That's excellent. How frequent, the class meets twice a week, once a week during the 8 weeks? How does that work?
It is an 8-week program. It is Monday through Friday, every day of the week from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
And do you rotate locations where the training happens?
The training will take place in a series of 4 locations. The first week will be a life skills, social skills component that we will be utilizing through our city locations. And then there is the technical training location as well as the remedial education component as well. So we'll be at 3 or 4 different places, and this is why we are stressing that individuals who do fill out an application have reliable transportation.
Right, absolutely. Bre'Asia, what was the most rewarding part of this whole experience?
I would say meeting new people, being trained to be disciplined. That was one big thing. And I would just like to say thank you to the mayor and the commissioner, Norman Jones, for giving me that opportunity, because they saw something in me that I didn't see. Even Mr. McFadden, they gave me a purpose. So,
what certifications, when you graduated from the program, what certifications did you have?
So like Mr. McFadden said, we got OSHA, HAZWOPER, CPR first aid, asbestos abatement, mold abatement, confined space, safety, just a list of them. Yeah,
that's a lot.
It was a lot.
So what happens after the 8 weeks is done?
So after we complete the 8-week training program, we do host a graduation for the participants who completed the program, as well as their families, as well as employers who have a vested interest into the program as well.
So tell me about the partnerships with employers in the city of Rochester. Are you looking for more? How should businesses contact you?
Well, those businesses that are performing environmental services can be able to contact me right at the City of Rochester. They can go onto the City of Rochester's website and be able to enter my name, and they can be able to pull up information on me as well as the program. We have, in our first series, we had over 14 different construction companies participating with the program. We're always looking for more.
Right.
Right now, we're slated to add on an additional 5 more construction companies. So we're going to be working with about 19 construction companies that all also have a vested interest in making sure that we have a greener Rochester as well.
Absolutely. So once a graduate completes the program and they have these many, many qualifications and certifications, what sort of jobs are opened up to them?
So the first thing that we make sure that we communicate with all of the participants is that REJob is a training program only.
Okay.
We are there on behalf of the federal government through EPA to be able to give them all of the skills that they need to become marketable into the world of employment. But the mayor took it a step further, and what she did was she allowed the advisory council to be centered around construction employers so they can be able to have skin in the game as well. Those construction companies then chose to have involvement with the program, coming in, doing presentations, coming in, doing some additional trainings. We've had 2 additional trainings in the last component added on to the certification classes. And because they have involvement inside of the program, there's one-on-one time that they get to have with employers. Employers get to see the seriousness and the dedication of the graduates. And as a result, employers usually pull right from the classroom.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Is this a unique program to Rochester? Does it happen in other cities?
It is happening in other cities. It's happening across the country right now because we enrolled 29 individuals into the program. We had 100% attendance inside of the program. We had 100% placement after the program. We are leading the country right now in environmental construction training programs. We're very proud of that.
Bre'Asia, what would you say to someone who was considering entering the REJob training program?
I would say if you're considering it, take that leap of faith. It definitely is a sacrifice. It's 8 weeks unpaid, but it's definitely worth it. I had a job at the moment, and I had to quit my job to enter the program. So it definitely is worth it, and give it a try.
What's the employer reaction when they meet these candidates who have, completed this rigorous training and they have all these certifications? What do they say to you?
It was just astounding of how many individuals, males and females, Bre'Asia being one of them, and how the engineering firms and the construction companies were at each other trying to be able to select candidates, and we didn't even get to the graduation phase yet. So for me, it was very rewarding. It's important to be able to stress that this started off as a Stairway Out of Poverty initiative. Now we are at the level where we are not only just leading the country in environmental construction, but the amount of numerous different type of career skill sets that individuals have gathered has allowed us now to be able to focus more on getting other individuals inside the program, receiving the same certifications and more certifications to have career-based opportunities within the city of Rochester, but the ability to travel across the country with those skill sets.
How do you see this program growing or changing in the coming years?
Well, right now, REJob is leading in the country. My mission is to be able to uphold the vision that our mayor has, uphold the vision that our commissioner has, and just remember where I came from in the city of Rochester. Being born as a native in the city of Rochester, suffering from poverty-based effects, and then here I am years later able to assist the mayor and our commissioner in opening the doors. I see sustainability. I actually see a REJob location and headquarters and more training facilities and being able to give more people that are tired of suffering from poverty-based effects an opportunity to receive careers as well.
Absolutely. Bre'Asia, why is this so important for Rochester?
I think this is important for Rochester because it allows people that live within the community to change their community. Me, myself, living in the city, I see things that I can actually change. I can do something about it. That pothole in the road, I can put an order in to get that fixed, or things like that. So
excellent, very rewarding. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and for your time. For more information about the Rochester Environmental Job Training Program, visit cityofrochester.gov/rejob, call 585-428-7503, or send an email to Paul at paul.mcfadden@cityofrochester.gov.